Donna, and thank you for stopping by my channel, The Blessed Driver. I appreciate you guys for being here, and I have some interesting news to share with you today. And first off and foremost, I want to give a shout out to the New York Times in New York, who recently interviewed me in regards to this particular article that I'm going to talk about and in regards to this issue. So I am very excited about that. And so also I want to give a shout out to Working Washington. Thank you so much for releasing the information to me and also for connecting me with the New York Times. And so I was kind of unexpected, but thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate that. It says Instacart reverses tipping policy after an uproar among workers. Let's get into it. Okay, some of you guys may be new to the Instacart platform. Some of you may be veterans, and God bless you. Veterans and newbies, it's all good. Now keep in mind that I'm going to read from the article itself, and also I'm going to share it with you, my thoughts and my views on what I feel and how I see things are going to go possibly in the future for Instacart if they don't change. Let's go. Instacart reverses tipping policy after an uproar among workers. All right. When you look at the article, you'll probably see Matthew Tellez, and you guys know that I mentioned him in one of my previous videos about he's been one of the main voices against the treason that Instacart has enacted upon us as shoppers. And so if you follow him on Twitter, you will see some of his tweets. He's very vocal, and so his tweets aren't for the faint of heart. And so like I said, I might not agree with everything he may voice out, but he proves some very interesting points, and he states the facts, and he has receipts and everything to show and prove everything, okay? And so I think that's a great thing for him. In the beginning of the article, you'll see here, you'll see a picture of him right up top. He's kind of cute. Matthew's kind of cute. I'm just going to read portions of it so you can kind of see what's really going on with the world of Instacart, okay? After an uproar from delivery workers and customers, Instacart, the Silicon Valley delivery startup, is reversing a pay practice that drew accusations on tip theft. So we'll see how that goes, okay? In a blog on Wednesday, Apurva Mehta, Instacart's chief executive, admitted that the company had fallen short, and that's actually in quotes, fallen short with a policy put in place last year that applied workers' tips toward guaranteed minimum payments of $10 per order, rather than paying them out on top of the guarantees. We heard loud and clear the frustration when your compensation didn't match the effort that you put in, says Mr. Mehta. He wrote in an open letter to Instacart shoppers. From now on, Mr. Mehta says tips will always be calculated separately from Instacart's contribution to workers' pay. He said the company would pay a minimum of $5 for orders that required only delivering an item. So that's for delivery only, okay? That's pretty good. And $7 to $10 for orders that involved picking items off shelves. See that, guys? Instacart will also retroactively compensate workers for whose tips were included in the guaranteed minimums under the old systems. So that's how we made most of our money, was from tips. And I can tell you guys from personal experience that there would be times where I would have a batch, one customer, I can make $30 off of one customer, or I can make $75, off of one. And I would make very good money with Instacart, okay? And so when they changed the pay scale, things went downhill from there. And so you see the receipts here, and I'm going to keep going. While our intention was to increase the guaranteed payment for small orders, we understand that the inclusion of tips as part of this guarantee was misguided, Mr. Mehta said. He apologized for taking this approach. So he's basically admitting that they were wrong and that they messed up. And so it's a sidebar. Glad that all of you who voiced your concern, Working Washington and Matthew and some of the other Instacart shoppers who actually said something, have done this. And also with my blogs as well, there are other shoppers who've done blogs. And so this is the change that we need, guys. The company's contract workers, known as shoppers, had complained that the old practices lowered their base pay, essentially using customers' tips to subsidize Instacart's own expenses. A group of shoppers sued the company, and Working Washington, a labor group in Seattle, collected more than 1,500 signatures from Instacart shoppers demanding changes to the tipping policy. And if you guys are still interested in signing the petition, and that is through Working Washington, there's a link down there below to join. You don't have to be a shopper. You can also be a customer. If you are a customer that feels taken advantage of, or if you're outraged at how you were, misguided, or maybe even treated, even how the shoppers are being treated, there's a link down there below to sign the petition, okay? And this is one more shout out to Working Washington. Bless y'all. Right below, and this is they actually interviewed me, so there's a small piece on me on the next part. And so it says, DoorDash, a competing delivery service, has also been criticized for a similar policy. On Wednesday, DoorDash spokeswoman declined to comment when asked if the company was considering changing its policy after Instacart's move. In a private Facebook group for Instacart shoppers, members greeted the news of company's policies reversal with cheers. I can't believe it. Back pay, one worker wrote. Somebody said back pay. 4 acres of the mule, or how many acres of the mule, but you're going to get your mules, okay? But Working Washington said that it would continue to push the company. Oh, it's not over, the group said in a statement. Workers continue to call for a transparent pay structure so they can verify what the company says they're going to do is what they're actually going to do, which makes sense. It says Instacart and DoorDash's tip policies deliver an outrage, and that's another article that that they have here. I did a video yesterday. People have asked me, and even the guy from the New York Times has asked me, would you ever go back to Instacart and do it full time if things changed? And I gave him stipulations as to yes or no, if I would or if I would not. The short answer is maybe. And basically, there would have to be variables and reasons as for me going back to Instacart as a full-time shopper. And I'm sure it probably wouldn't matter to them because shoppers come a dime a dozen. However, I think that, as you guys know, and if you have followed my vlogs over the past 3 years, you will see that the consistency in how much money I was making, sometimes it would fluctuate, but I was making really great money, guys. And things started to change a lot. But overall, this is how I got my apartment. This is how I got a place to live. It's how I got my vehicle. I was doing Instacart full time. Even though I was doing other side gigs, Instacart was my money maker. And even though things weren't always perfect, I was satisfied in a sense to where I was making what I needed. My bills got paid. I had plenty of money left over. I was good. And things change. And I know, as with any job, things change. They need to change in how we're rated and how customers do things, because some customers aren't truthful. They're not honest. And I'm sorry, but it's true. There are customers that legitimately lie, and they say that they haven't received certain items and we have delivered them. They would say an item is damaged or maybe it wasn't there, or whatever the case may be. And you even watch how things are stored. You keep it in a cooler, everything's nice and intact, but they insist that there's something wrong with the order when there really wasn't. Now, there could be a genuine reason as to what happened to a customer's order. It could be something that was on us, and I understand that. But most of the time, people make stuff up. And they complain to Instacart that they never got it, it was damaged, and then they get free stuff. I had a customer to do that to me before, and she was new. Her house was literally right down the road from the grocery store. So from the time I got to, and plus I had all of her items in a cooler, so I kept them nice and cool, and paper bags, everything was fine. And the moment I got to her house, which was maybe like 6 minutes, she said that it was damaged, she had ice cream, it was ridiculous. And so they compensated for her from that, and I knew she was lying. I ended up getting another order from her again, and she tried me again. And so I contacted Instacart, and so she gave me a nice tip, but she gave me a bad rating on purpose. And so she tried to say, oh yeah, this is missing, this is damaged, and she was lying. And so I am so glad that there's a reversal of the tips. I think that's wonderful, and I just hope that things are going to change for the better. And so if you guys are still wanting to do Instacart and still want to be on the platform, I'm sure that you guys will be able to do that. Now, I'm hoping that Apoorva Mehta, the CEO, is having some type of remorse or feeling some type of conviction, because sometimes people feel conviction and they change. And then there's other times where people feel convicted and they don't change. They just feel like, okay, I got caught, so maybe I can just say this to make myself feel good. I can't say that's the case, and that's just the beginning. I don't think this is the end, because there's still a lot more that Instacart needs to fix. If that company is worth over $7 to $8 billion, if not more, there should be no reason for them not to fix the issues that are going on with that app. You know what I'm saying? And so instead of stuffing their pockets and, being greedy and trying to make themselves look like kings, they need to feed the people and take care of the people who are actually supporting the company. I'm not talking about trying to invest in like these self-sufficient robots and these self-driven things, because that's what they're trying to do. Don't use people and don't try to bite the hand that helps you. get the money. You understand? And so all of you guys who are watching this, all of you who are shoppers who've been on the platform either for a long time or even if you just recently started, kudos to you. Those of you who have thugged it out, those of you who have voiced your concern and you put your foot down and you said something, God bless y'all. You hope things will change on all of these platforms. And if you're a customer watching this, everything that we're going through is true. You see it in the articles. If you look online, it's all over the place. And how we're treated is not fair. I gotta sip my tea. When it comes to grocery delivery, I think some people, I'm not gonna say all customers, but I think people fail to realize that it is a valuable service and is needed for some people. And so to be a full service shopper, it takes a lot of effort. I know some people think, oh, it's just grocery shopping delivery. No, it's more than that. It's a job. And so we're taking the time, we're using our own cars, of course, and we're using our gas. And we're going in there and we're making sure that we're meeting customers' needs and we're meeting the demands. And so it's not quite like we're sitting at a desk and, talking to a customer on the phone. Sometimes we do talk to them on the phone, but you know what I mean. And even customers who have unusual demands, like my favorite type of customer, the ones who ask for specific fruit and vegetables with no spots on them. Now, it's okay to ask for specific things that you desire. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have certain demands, it's okay. But when it comes to bananas, unless they are underripe, it's hard to find some bananas without spots. Like you have customers that will say, I want you guys to give me some really ripe bananas, but no spots. These are organic bananas. Now, these are a little overly ripe, but they're good. But you know what I mean? This is what a typical banana will look like if it's really ripe. Now, some people have unusual demands, and if we can't meet them not because we want to be petty, but the store may not have it. We have to go to Costco and, BJ's and these big wholesalers, or maybe like a case of, Gatorade that's like 35 bottles in there, and it's like 4 of those. And we have to go up 3 or 4 flights of stairs, and you see able-bodied people. Now, that's a different vlog, and I'm gonna talk about that later. And no shade on those who just do delivery only, but they work just as hard. That's my 2 cents, y'all. And so I'm glad that justice is finally being served, and it's happening. So if things change for the better, then yeah, I would love to go back doing it full time. Thank you for stopping by my channel, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. God bless y'all. Peace out.